Welcome back, College Baseball Show fans. We got another wonderful Coaches Corner interview here. Coach Mark Machtolf of Gonzaga Baseball, 23 seasons, Coach. Welcome onto the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on, Coach. Like we do with everybody that we bring onto the show, we just want to give you a minute here to just tell us a little bit about your journey and joining Gonzaga Baseball and what the process has been to get you being the head coach there.
Really, as you go back, I feel like I'm the luckiest Division One coach in America, head coach in my hometown. Lucky enough to get hired by Coach Steve Hertz, 1987, and worked for him for 3 years, and it wasn't a full time job, and then left and coached at Gonzaga Prep for a couple of years and coached football. And then the job became full time at Gonzaga U and as an assistant. So I came back to work with him for 8 additional years. And then he moved on to a fundraising position and it opened up the head coaching job. And I was fortunate enough that they hired me, and I've been here for 23 years as the head coach.
What's it mean just to be able to give back to your community and be a part of a place where you grew up and you grew up playing baseball?
Yeah, it's a special opportunity for me. I had even in high school, a lot of my buddies that I played with went to Gonzaga, so I've always been, even though I didn't graduate from here or play for the Zags, I've always had close ties, and I've always felt a closeness to Coach Hertz, and just very very fortunate he took a chance on me, and then Mike Roth hired me as he was the athletic director at the time. So. Um, yeah, this is my home.
Yeah, it's got to be awesome there, Coach. Let's talk just a little bit about fall ball now that we're coming to the end of fall ball here, wrapping things up, getting ready to send the guys home for the break here. How was fall ball? I mean, you guys have a huge group of seniors and juniors and this just mature team that seems like they knew what they were doing, they knew what the expectations are going into fall. Tell us just a little about some stand-up guys, pitching and defensive wise, and then a little bit about
Yeah,
yours.
it was good. We obviously in today's day and age, you do a lot of inter squad work because you can't play outside games a ton. But we have a few new faces, which is normal in this era of the portal. And but yeah, we are very much an older offensive team, and that's always reassuring. So even new guys that come in, it's not like bringing in a freshman, and you're bringing in a junior, or senior, maybe grad guy. They're pretty well schooled in college baseball, so I feel good about the experience. They're mature. We always preach, on offense about being efficient and putting the ball in play and doing the little things. The hits and home runs, all those will show up. But if you're really efficient and do those things that sometimes equate to just being older and knowing the game, usually pretty hard to beat. And so I feel good from an offensive standpoint, um, at least from knowing that we have older guys that will play a little bit smarter.
Yeah, I mean, you got guys on the roster here that have a lot of experience, are really good. Mikey Bell, Bo Schinkel, guys like that, Noah Meffert, and the list goes on and on about these guys that really have super talented, super bats. I mean, I know I got to see Tommy Eisenstadt hit a ball that I'm not sure has come down yet and bend. But these guys, it seems like you guys have a really well built offense, and the idea is a little bit of power, a little bit of speed, and keeping the pressure on defenses, right?
Yeah, I do. I feel we have a little bit of flexibility. We have some team speed, and we have some guys that can hit for average, and some guys that are going to hit for some power. So I think as you have that flexibility and ability to beat teams in more than one way, I think that's going to be helpful for us moving forward. So it's going to be a process of getting guys in the right spot. Another thing I think is a plus too is we have a boatload of competition inside within our own team, and I think that brings out the best in all your players. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, the six freshmen you bring in, all arms. So you're bringing in a lot of pitching, a lot of young pitching to match up with that olding pitching that you have. Any of those guys looking maybe to take some reps this season, or is this going to be mostly like sit back and learn how we do things?
Well, yeah, I mean we've had a couple of freshmen throw the ball well. We have one freshman that's a two-way guy. Santiago is also an outfielder, and but Landon Hood threw the ball really well as a freshman, Arizona kid, and so he would be one guy that I would point to that has threw the ball well in the fall. That throws strikes, good composure right off the bat. I liked him a ton. So A couple of the other guys are kind of just feeling their way through the fall, and I'm sure they'll surface. But really, it's going to be the older guys on the mound that have to kind of carry the brunt of the load, and we have those guys. We have a good group of guys that have done it in the past, or for whatever reason. Maybe they took a step backwards last year, or didn't have the year that we thought, but they're certainly capable. And then we have guys that had good years that we think are going to continue to improve. And then we get a couple contributions from a young kid, and I think we could be solid on the mound as well.
Yeah, it looks like a very well-rounded team. I know I saw you guys down here in Bend against the Beavers in the fall, and a lot of fun going out there. Super cold day, which we're not
Yeah, freezing.
unaccustomed to here in the Northwest.
Yeah,
Um, talk just a little bit about that last year. We brought up last year where the slow start kind of, and then you
yeah.
guys really got going the second half of the season. How do you keep that rolling, especially with this team that has been there and that leadership kind of pushing into that next season?
Yeah, we've always talked about our schedule. We're going to challenge ourselves early, and sometimes if you got a lot of new faces or you just don't play great baseball, your record's gonna indicate that, and going to reflect that, and so we just stay the course, and our guys have done a good job with that, and they feel like the older guys have been through that turmoil and know that when those hiccups come, they're not going to panic. So I feel like and that's what you need in college baseball, because there's so many good teams, and you just got to make sure that you stay the course and trust your process and continue to work through it. And these guys saw it firsthand. You can preach about it all you want, but until you actually go through that streak and know that you will come out on the other end if you trust the process and trust each other and keep doing things right, you'll be in good shape. And so these kids have seen that.
Yeah, coach. I mean, WCC is very well known for baseball. It's a baseball conference. A lot of great teams out here, baseball and basketball especially. Talk just a little bit about what it means to be on the West Coast Conference here and competing for that title year in, year out, as you guys have.
Yeah, it is, and I think historically, last year may have been a little bit different. Historically, it's a pitching-rich conference. Teams in our conference pitch well, and I think it's an underrated conference and warm weather conference too. And yeah, there's just good teams. Obviously, we got one more year in this conference, and it's been great. We look forward to the Pac-12 and what that brings, but that is not anything negative to say about the West Coast Conference, because they're great teams, and I think that they have a really bright future.
What would it mean to go out with one more title here in WCC, coach, on the last year,
That would be
coaching?
great. That's what we're trying to do. It's going to be very difficult because of all the teams and the experience that they have coming back too. So yeah, that would be awesome. And that's one of our goals for sure. It's always our first goal is always to win our conference. It's tough to do 24 game schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it's no weekends off, right? You got to get after it every single weekend. Speak just a little bit about the leaders in the clubhouse and these guys that seem to continue for you. Like it seems year in year out, you get this next group of juniors and seniors that really take the mantle of being leaders for you and captains on this team. Is that something you guys preach as a coaching staff, or is that something that's just kind of been passed down generation to generation of Gonzaga baseball?
Yeah, it's something we preach, where those older guys really take the initiative, and I think it's so more powerful in some ways coming from your peers and your teammates when they set the tone for how we do things. And yeah, you mentioned earlier Tommy Eisenstadt is a great worker, and this is his third year in the program, and Hudson Shoup, who's had 2 good years here and playing second base, and Mikey Bell's player of the year in the conference last year, and so he had a fantastic year. And all those 3 guys are great leaders in our clubhouse, and so they've been through it, and they'll continue to lead us in the right direction.
Coach, I know that rosters has been a big question for everybody, right? We've been going through, we're down to the 34-man rosters now. How's your feel on that? And how was the getting set as Gonzaga baseball for 34-man roster? Was that a big change for you guys?
Yeah, it is a change. I mean, we have been at before it was 35, so it's not unknown to us, but yeah, it is. It's a change, with the depth, and you gotta, you just really, the main thing is you still have to pitch well, and you're going to have those shots on goal on the mound. And so we're still going to bring in, enough guys that we feel are going to help us, be strong on the mound. And so that will leave a problem with depth from a position player standpoint. And so we've seen that, even though I do feel like we have good competition, but there's just not. I wouldn't say competition in numbers, and so you have to make some adjustments from that standpoint.
From a recruiting standpoint on that, do you look more at two-way players now? I mean, I know we're seeing more and more in the game of college baseball. These guys are able to go out and give you 15, 20 innings, maybe even up to 30, 40, and play a position like outfield or first base for you.
Yeah, we to be honest with you, we've always preached that, and I think that's part of being at a private school. That's one way that we have provided that depth. I mean, we've had great two-way guys. Marco Gonzalez was a John Olerud two-way player of the year, and you look at Gabe Hughes was a first-round draft choice on the mound two-way, and it's a long list. So that is one way certainly that you can provide some depth with today's day and age with the roster limits.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like more and more teams are leaning on that, and more kids are coming to college even than taking those draft money. Do you guys go out there and just say, "Hey, we're going to get the guys that fit our system best," or you go out there and try to get talent, or is it just kind of a mix to make sure you get the right guys in your system, coach?
Yeah, we really look for the right fit. Even when you're looking at the portal issue, that's a little bit tougher. But we're looking for guys, and you vet them as much as you can, but we're looking guys that really have the same values that we represent at Gonzaga of being, a great teammate and working hard and really blue collar type approach. And it's great to have all those individual desires and goals, but they can't be put in front of what we're trying to do as a team. And so we really preach that, and we try to vet those players as best we can.
Yeah. What does success look like this year, coach? What spells success for Gonzaga baseball here in the 2026 season?
As usual, we got to pitch well. I think offensively, I feel good about that, and we have pitched the ball so well. And if you look at the last 15-year window, we've got to do that. We've got to play good defense. I know that's really wise, isn't it? We got to pitch and play defense. No one's ever said that before. But yeah, we got to have some guys, some of the older guys, really continue to improve, and some of them will have new roles. And if we do that, I think we'll be in good shape.
Do you think there's a little bit of a hunger of those guys who have been around the program to go out and try to win this thing for their last year in the WCC and just really put a stamp on what has been Gonzaga baseball for the West Coast Conference?
Yeah, I think there is for sure. And I think that just the fact that the last couple of years we haven't played as well as we would have liked, and I think that leaves a bad taste. And so I think the guys that have been around for the longest kind of are chomping at the bit to get us to the point where we're playing better baseball and have a chance to win a championship and hopefully move on in a regional.
Yeah, for a long time, coach, you guys were, known as this great pitching program. You guys had all these great pitchers coming through there. Last season, it felt like maybe the pitching wasn't where you wanted it to be. Have you guys made adjustments and kind of figured out, getting after a little bit more on the pitching side?
Yeah, I think that a lot of that is it's cyclical a little bit. It's hard just to stay, when we have the draft. One year we lost 4 juniors to the draft, and everybody says, well, you knew you're going to lose those guys because they're all top 10 round picks. Yeah, we knew you're going to lose them. Yeah, but you're still replacing them with first year players. And so you have those things. And so Coach Harmon does a great job. And so we, again, stick to what we value and we'll continue to do that. And I have all the confidence that we'll pitch the ball well.
Yeah, I think so too. I really have big feelings for this team. I have not been shy in saying that you guys are my pick here to win the WCC in this final year. Looking at everything overall as a program, coach, what do you look back and go, this is the thing I'm most proud of this team, especially going through the fall ball this year?
I think this team, and what you always look for when you bring in new players, is just that culture of the guys that really want to be around each other and really care for each other and like each other. I think that goes a long ways. And it kind of speaks to what I talked about before, where you're pulling the rope in the same direction and your goals are the same in terms of putting the team first and knowing, okay, we're trying to win the championship. Everybody wants to get drafted. Everybody wants to make some money. Everybody wants to go play pro ball. That's you have those goals the first time you put on a pair of cleats. I get that. But if you put the team first, and we're talking about winning the championship and going to a regional, hopefully, and making qualifying for a super regional and moving on, I feel like this group has that common goal, and that's reassuring for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need. Some key guys in the locker room make it feel good, and this team always seems to come up with guys. But I think that this year feels special, especially with guys like Eisensat and White and Shoop. I mean, this team's loaded. I feel, Coach, when you look around, you've been in the program for a long time. You've been doing this college baseball thing for a long time. How does it feel to go from mentee to mentor? It feels like you're the mentor for a lot of these guys out there in the coaching world. Can you just speak a little bit about what it means to mentor some of these guys?
Well, just it feels like, again, it goes back to just gratitude of being able to not only be in college baseball, for as long as I have, but to be at Gonzaga, um, a place I actually absolutely love, and I called earlier, it's my home. Just feel a great gratitude, and then all the I don't know that if it's a mentorship or whatever. It's more just a bunch of colleagues that we like to, exchange thoughts and root for each other. And having been in it for as long as I have a ton of friends and colleagues that I just respect a boatload, and it's fun to have that.
Yeah, there's definitely something special amongst D1 baseball coaches. It feels like you guys have a bigger bond even than other sports. Do you reach out, during seasons to guys, or is this kind of like during the off season or in the spare time?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a couple guys for sure that I respect, and we're going through the same thing, usually at different times in the season. But to get to trust that you have somebody that you really um, you really value their opinions. And again, I have great assistant coaches too that I value, and uh, provide that same opportunity for me.
Gotcha. Any game day rituals, coach, with food or anything you do? I know for me, I always had to have red vines in the dugout when I was coaching, and I used the same Pilot G2.7 pin for every single lineup I wrote. Anything like that you do? Game day rituals?
Yeah, well, I have a little bit of a commute. One thing I do, I like it. I live out in the country, and it takes me about an hour to get to work. So I like to drive around, just kind of like back road, dirt road. Something about it relaxes me. It clears my head. And so sometimes on game day, it won't take me an hour, it'll take me a couple hours, and I'll just drive and hopefully see some wildlife, and just clear my mind and think about how you're going to manage your bullpen, and what's the starting lineup going to look like. And that would be the closest thing that I would have to a ritual. Some people think you're maybe losing it a little bit, but I call it a ritual.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with baseball, we have a lot of superstitions, a lot of ritual, and maybe little things just like that, driving around and just trying to find yourself before a game. I love it. All right, coach. Big question here. We look around this game and we say, hey, what's going on with so and so? What's going on with so and so? What's the hardest part from now until February 13th when we escape this thing off? I know we got to send those guys home. We got to put a lot of trust in those guys, right?
Hmm. That's the hardest part right there. You hit it right on the head. Where and I told our guys on our last meeting that this is the most tenuous time to be a coach, where you send the guys. Right now, we're in the middle of dead week, and then you have finals, and then they're gone for almost 5 weeks, and so you
Yeah.
only have almost 2 months of not being able to coach them. So you put a lot of trust in them that they're going to do the work, and knowing that, okay, they have these individual goals and these team goals that they're going to continue to work, and not just um, come back and be the same guy, or that they improve, that they really come back and it's a noticeable improve. The word maintenance, I just can't stand that word. You're going to come back and you're going to maintain where you are right now. Well, to me, that means you've wasted 2 months, if you're not better. So we kind of preach that, and hopefully that our guys historically have done a good job. But that will go a long way in winning a championship. You get bunch of guys come back and they're rusty, not good. But guys that get together and encourage each other, and they come back ready to go, you're going to be in good shape.
This year, coach, we get a couple more weeks of practice now before games, right? We get a little bit more time being allotted by NCAA for that practice starting in January. How's that feel to just be able to go, okay, give you a little breather maybe to get just a little bit more practice before you get going in games?
Yeah, I think for us being in Northwest, it's good to know that, okay, yeah, you're gonna have some days where the weather isn't great possibly, and so the more that you can get outside and actually play the game instead of we have a brand new, beautiful facility. But you need to get outside and see live at bats and see live pitching. And so the more that you can do that, the better prepared you're going to be early in the year. And we challenge ourselves. So there's no easing into our schedules. We're going to play great teams right off the bat.
Yeah, and I mean, I grew up here in the Northwest. I live in Bend now, so I'm up in Central Oregon. But cold weather and rain and stuff. I mean, that's just what baseball was in the Northwest. So these guys got to be ready to get right after it. So outdoor practice it is, but now you get to do it at least in January.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Love it.
Coach, if it wasn't baseball, what would you do?
That's a good question. I'd be coaching. I'd be doing something. I mean, I just love the interactions with the kids, and I just love college kids, and so if I wasn't coaching baseball, I'd probably be coaching football. That would be something that I'd like to do, even though their world's more hectic than ours.
Yeah, I ask this question always to the coach, like, what historic team would you want to go back and coach? For me, I look at like the 2001 Beaver football team and like, a field goal away from being a national championship contender. I grew up 30 minutes north of there, so I always look back at that team thinking, man, how much fun would it have been to be on that staff? Is there a team you look back historically and be like, I would love to coach that team?
Man, that's tough. I always said that it's kind of tough to put your finger on one team or one person off the top of my head. It would be hard for me to name just one. When you look at who's the best hitter, who's the best pitcher, who's the best team, I always maybe it's a bailout, but I always say, well, if I had to name one, this guy or this pitcher would be in the conversation. There'd be a lot of teams that are in the conversation that I think had a chance to really move on and do well. Unfortunately, some of those teams just didn't play their best baseball right at the end, and a little bit, it's my fault, my responsibility. But there's a few teams that I would like to go back and coach. But I'm really excited about this one too. So this, first things first, I'm excited about this year's version of Zags and seeing what we can accomplish.
Coach, what do you do when it's the off season? What do you do when you get a little bit of a break? Do you, any hobbies or any fun stuff you like to go out there and do? Golf?
Yeah, I like
fish?
the outdoors. I like the outdoors, and we get a little bit of time here, but we're working in camps and then really trying to recruit, certainly, talking to coaches. You can't go out, of course, but it's still baseball. We don't take 6 weeks off just because the kids aren't in town. It's a lifestyle more than it's a job.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to love this thing. If you're doing this, you're doing it because you love this game. It's nothing else other than, maybe it's a job to some people, but if you don't love this, you're not going to succeed at it, in my opinion.
No doubt. I agree with that 100%.
All right, Coach. Anything you want to share with Bulldog fans before we get ready?
Thank you. I
To start the season?
appreciate it. And yeah, to the Zag Nation, thank you for your support. We look forward to seeing you this spring.
Cannot wait for another season of Gonzaga baseball. Coach, we'll touch back in the spring. Thanks for coming on the show, and
Thank
good
you.
luck this season.
Have a happy holiday.
You too.
Take care.